And there is some truth to that. Like, there's a very rich oligarchy in this country that remains rich and stays rich off of gaming government systems and public policy. And you guys give them a free pass because you think that we're fascists, when in reality, we're the ones that are actually fighting to destroy the oligarchy the most.
All right, so in this video, we're going to react to a Charlie Kirk Ask Me Anything on a college campus, where this gentleman comes in and tries to attack Charlie Kirk. Turning point, he gives liberal talking points. But I find this really cool because the guy was reasonable enough to admit that he may be wrong on some things and he may have misconstrued some points. And it's this kind of dialogue that the left, Democrats in particular, because they are now fully left and woke and socialist and on the way to communism, don't want to have happen. They want to shut things down. Just today, Hillary Clinton said, essentially, we need to go after anyone who is MAGA. You had Kamala Harris talking about we need to shut down free speech. And we wonder why. Because for these guys, the narrative is everything. It's their revolution, where they say the issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution. Well, the revolution can be shut down with a free market of ideas. And they don't want a free market because in the end of the day, they will lose that argument every single time. So let's jump in here and I'm going to play this clip.
Company that's like close to being a fascist, and then like,
okay, well, how am I?
Sorry.
Let's go through this. How am I a fascist?
No. Dude, like
Can you name one thing I believe that's fascist?
Okay, let's just start off. I'm not going to keep stopping here, but let's just set it up because it kind of jumped right in. So he basically says, you're basically a fascist. He's calling Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, but that's the premise of him attacking Charlie Kirk and Turning Point. So let's check this out.
Fascist?
You believe that, like, you are... But
I'm such a bad fascist. I let the people who disagree in open mic to talk to me for 2 hours uninterrupted.
Okay.
I'm an awful fascist.
So right there, he already destroys the argument because they throw the word fascist around because it's essentially the new N-word. It's the word that they can put out there that is offensive because fascism is tied into Nazism, is tied into Hitler, and that's what they want to convey. They know it strikes emotion and a reaction. So they toss around only for effect, not because they really believe it, and certainly something they can't defend. So when Charlie says, okay, yeah, I'm a fascist, but I'm here for 2 hours letting you talk on the microphone, give me your ideas, that's not fascism. And then he basically just like, whatever, because he didn't think it through.
We're like a free speech liberal of the 1970s, not a fascist.
But I just want to say Turning Point USA is a evil company that was funded by thousands of...
So basically he's equating fascism as being evil, but it's funny that the Democrats are the ones that are fascist. They are actually doing what they accuse us of doing, and it's all we're doing is just being free speech. So I'm gonna try and shut up, and I'm gonna try and not talk all the way through this thing because it would be really annoying from your side of it. I get that, so I'll shut up.
Fracking companies, and that
just... No, it's not thousands, but we do have some frackers that give us money. But
yeah, and then all it is making the rich more rich.
Fascism to fracking.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Okay, again, I'm happy to have a debate. I can see you're getting kind of fired up.
I'm sorry.
So, but why are we evil? Like, we're having a nice discussion.
Because
all of a sudden you're calling me like
because
a fascist.
It seems like you just want the rich get even more rich. Like
we haven't talked about the rich at all. I mean, so you don't even know my positions on this stuff at all. And by the way, just so we're clear, the wealthiest counties in the country all vote for Democrats. You know that, right?
All right, let me stop real quick. I know I promised I wouldn't, but I have to say this. When he said you're evil, Charlie Kirk asked, why do you say we're evil? What did he say? Dude said, it seems. So he's going to make an emphatic, quantifiable statement. You are evil. That is a fact. And then when asked to back that up, he says something that's not quantifiable and something that's subjective, something that his opinion. See how they do that? They toss words around for effect. You're evil. You're a fascist. They can't back up either, only because their talking points are just for effect. It's not meant to be in an open form. It's supposed to be in a rally where they're chanting, marching and chanting certain things, where they're shutting down discussion, overshouting people. That's when it's effective, but it's not effective when it's actually challenged in a counter argument or in a cross examination.
Right? 8 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in the country vote for Democrats. The wealthiest people, absent Elon Musk, are all on the left. Jeff Bezos, George Soros, Mark Benioff, Mark
Elon Musk on the
Zuckerberg, Laurene
left?
Powell Jobs. On the left, yes. The richer you are, the more likely you are to be a Democrat and on the left.
Explain that to me, please.
The numbers speak for itself. The Democrats are the party of the oligarchy. Can you name one tech CEO outside of Elon Musk that is a conservative?
I personally think. Let me think. Peter Thiel.
Yeah, that's one. That's one. Larry Page, Google, on the left, worth $120 billion. Sergey Brin, Google, $130 billion on the left. Laurene Powell Jobs, Mackenzie Bezos, Jeff Bezos.
If they're on the left, what has they done that was like quote unquote to do the left stuff?
Well, okay, so Larry Page gives money to left-wing NGOs all the time.
Like, if you're on the left, I don't think you will ever be this rich.
Well, they are. You know why? Because the left is...
Wow. So let's just... So he basically, which I appreciate this kid, he basically said, can you please explain, which I thought was cool, which means he's trying to learn. He's just regurgitating what he's been taught and told and whatever. So I find that really, really encouraging there and refreshing. But also, he says, did you catch what he said? He said, I don't think people on the left can get that rich. And I'm gonna let Charlie roll here because he really breaks this down, and which is why I thought I need to do a reaction video for this, because this is something that needs to be put out there for the younger audience who don't understand any of this. They think that they're on the side of the champion for the poor and all that, when it's the exact opposite. They use young people because they're not the smartest adults. So what it is, they're young, they're just becoming to be adults. They don't know as much, and they're really susceptible to manipulation.
They're not.
No,
because they're not.
The left is a scam. The left uses
How
people.
is this?
Let me tell you why. It's a good question, actually. The left uses people like you that think that, oh, we're going to fight the rich. Well, they protect their oligarchy. While you guys have to keep on working hard and never own anything, when we conservatives are the ones that actually want to restore the American middle class and bring jobs back to this country.
How would you restore?
Let me finish. The left uses people like you every day, and they use people on you by the trans thing, the abortion thing. Keep voting for us because the fascists are going to take your rights away. When who's funding the left? The richest people. George Soros. Do you know who George Soros is?
Who is funding? Dude, I have never seen a leftist organization come to campus spreading their propagandas.
Well, because the whole university is a leftist organization spreading propaganda.
It's liberal. There is a clear-cut difference between a leftist and a liberal. Please make that
You're coming
right.
after this in a good way, because I'll just say Democrat politics, okay?
Okay.
Almost every major, powerful, wealthy person in the country, over $100 billion in net worth, with the exception of one person, Elon Musk, is on the cultural left and gives money to the left. Mark Zuckerberg gave $400 million in the 2020 election to help get Joe Biden reelected through the Center for Technology and Civic Life. Mackenzie Bezos.
That helps his case, obviously. He would donate money to his...
Oh, okay, but hold on. One second. Mackenzie Bezos with $45 billion, major Biden backer. Laurene Powell Jobs worth $20 billion. Steve Jobs' widow, one of the most radical left-wingers in the Emerson Collective. Mark Benioff from Salesforce worth $12 billion. One of the most radical left-wing guys that you'll see out there. The eBay guy, Omador, one radical left-wing. It's so important for you on the left. You guys are being scammed and gamed, because they talk a good game about building the middle class, but it is not the party of democracy, it's the party of oligarchy. And you can go fact check me tonight, and you might actually have cognitive dissonance. Type in this: wealthiest counties in the country, they almost all vote for Joe Biden. Who gives the most political donations to the left? All the wealthy people. Go look up the top billionaires on the Forbes list, the top 100. Only about 10 of them give the Republican, the other 80 give the Democrat, the other 10 don't give at all. It is mind-blowing when you realize the shift in power the last 10 years. Republicans used to be the party of the rich. You know what changed? We nominated a class traitor as our nominee, Donald Trump. As soon as Donald Trump became our nominee, all the billionaires said, we don't want him anymore. He talks about things we don't like. He wants to end the wars, close the border, bring jobs back to this country. We want to keep on supporting a political party that doesn't want any of that stuff. Explain to me how Joe Biden represents the working class in this country. He doesn't.
He very much supports the unions.
It's a oh, hold on a second. The union or the union bosses? Big difference. The union bosses support and the rank and file love Trump. The UAW loved Trump more than Biden. The carpenters union loved Trump more than Biden. The police union. The point is this.
So let me just stop here. So this is really important. So he was, the guy, the student is good. He's asking questions, he's learning, he's listening, and he's getting educated. Now, check this out. So when he said, well, what about the union bosses? Of course, the blue collar union workers in the factories in the so-called blue wall, Wisconsin, Ohio, West Virginia, Iowa, Michigan, all of that. What about those guys? Well, it's the same thing. It's the oligarchy. It's the bosses, the union bosses, who are doing the dirty work. And the rank and file, as he mentioned, are for Trump. It's the same thing across the board, because what we're seeing now is the combining of the populist right and the populist left, where you have Bobby Kennedy Jr. on the left, populist, and you have Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker, those people, the populist right. And that coalition is now galvanizing. And so across the board, you look at various metrics, you'll see the rank and file, union workers are for Trump. But who are they against? They're against their union bosses who are keeping them down, who aren't doing the interests of their constituents. And therefore, the same dichotomy of the same picture. And so that's what Charlie is saying, is that it's the party of the oligarchs, it's the Democrats, it's the rich, it's the liberal, it's the left. These people are the ones who are using their power influence to get young people to do their bidding so they can keep themselves in power, all the while gaslighting them and lying to them as to who is the real bad guy.
Is that the Democrat Party, they are sitting on a house of cards of young activists that truly want to go crush the rich. And there is some truth to that. There's a very rich oligarchy in this country that remains rich and stays rich off of gaming government systems and public policy. And you guys give them a free pass because you think that we're fascists, when in reality, we're the ones that are actually fighting to destroy the oligarchy the most.
All right, last question.
Last point.
Last question. Let's say, so you do want to fight for the American middle class, and
yes.
Okay, how does freer the market helps with the middle class?
Again, I want precision in free markets, but
how does free market support the middle class?
Again, I'm not puritanical, but I think that generally more choices are a good thing. I think that generally supporting entrepreneurs is positive, but I think that mass immigration is really bad for American workers.
There's no mass immigration.
Well, first of all, how many people are... Wow. Well, you're right. There is mass invasion, but how many people are coming across the southern border?
Yeah, these ideas are something that's totally new to him, and he's like, what? You can just see that it's just messing his whole world up in terms of his ideology. Interesting. And also, I like how Charlie was honest by saying, I'm not a puritanian, whatever he's saying. He's basically saying that I'm not a strict ideologist when it comes to this. That's what he's trying to say. Meaning that I'm not going to put myself into an ideological box saying this is all right, this is all wrong when it comes to this issue. But he is saying that choices are better, and the free capital market with more choices do make for a better system. And I agree.
Every day.
Yeah, no.
I don't know, but
I'm actually genuinely curious. Can you guess?
Okay.
So the question was, before I interrupted, was how many people are coming across the border a day?
What time frame?
Every day.
Every day? 500?
Yeah. It's at its low point, it's at 10,000 right now. It was 15,000 last month. So what is that annualized? Let's play that out.
A lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's mass immigration, right? How many green cards do we give out every year?
Probably a lot.
Yeah, a lot. About 1.2 million,
well,
right?
What's wrong with giving out green cards?
I'm not saying anything wrong. No, you said there's no mass migration. So I'm just trying to tell you, we do have mass migration, right? We have 3 million on the southern border, and then we have 1 million green cards, right? That's 4 million a year, right? Which is basically bigger than most U.S. states. Now, everything comes with a cost. when you have mass migration, you're going to get lower wages. But that means you're going to disenfranchise American workers. What, are you studying computer science?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so you're an American born, I'm guessing, American raised? I don't want to assume.
I wasn't, but
okay.
I moved to the U.S.
Okay, well, you're an American now, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
Are you
I
on a
am.
student visa? Okay, you're going to now have to compete. You're kind of proving my point, but that's a separate issue. You're now going to have to compete against foreign labor for your computer science jobs. I think we have a moral obligation to American-born workers to give them preference and priority and restrict the labor supply so that our computer science majors can have higher wages, not to have suppressed wages so some tech CEO can bring in a bunch of Indians and suppress their, no, nothing against Indians, but just, bring down their wages.
Personally, I just think that, like, if you came to America and then receive a green card, I think you get to work however you want. Like,
okay, I think that American-born citizens
and then
should
there
be
shouldn't
given,
be a priority because they're American citizens.
well, that's
as long as you're
that's where we're
American
different.
citizen.
I actually think you must have a priority to your own citizens, or else you don't have a government. You have something else. If you don't have a priority to your own people, I don't know what you have. You have a colony, not a country. You're just a big economy, and that's fine if that's your position. By the way, your position is held by the ruling elite. Where I think that we should have a country, not just a colony, where the American-born citizens should be given preference over foreigners. Nothing against foreigners, I think they're nice people, but the Americans should be given first preference. And by the way, any sane country believes that. We're like the only country in the world that says, and certain European countries, come on in and take whatever you want.
So that was a great discussion. One of my favorite discussions I've seen probably in the last year or so, because it's so educational and the student was so refreshing in his responses, his honesty in his reactions, and his willingness to accept it, take it in, have it go around a little bit, and then push back in his own limited way because his worldview is all jacked. But what's awesome about this video is that Charlie was able to take the argument, his whole position, and frame it in such a way that it comes back to the very beginning, the initial question about Turning Point being a evil company and him being a fascist, and being against the middleman, being against the middle class, and all that. He turned it around and said, no, based on this whole thing we just talked about and your own positioning about people who are coming into this country who are not legal but have green cards should have the same priority as American citizens, and that's where they disagree. And he said, your position is the position of those oligarchs, of that rich elite class, as I said before. So at the end of the day, he put it right back on himself. So really, he could have been talking to a mirror the whole time in terms of Charlie being a fascist. I find it, the dichotomy there and the irony there just brilliant.